Morning. This is so great to start, a great way to start the day. I just want to say good morning to all the rockin' women entrepreneurs, their supporters, and their and our wonderful listeners. And welcome to our Empowering Women Entrepreneur broadcast series, brought to you by the Women Entrepreneur Pajama Party Interview. I'm your host, Cindy Cohen, founder of C Tier Health Women's Initiative, a nonprofit organization supporting and connecting women entrepreneurs with mentoring, business resources, confidence building. And today we have something really incredibly exciting to share with you. The Women Entrepreneurs Summit Roundtables for Success is just around the corner, and we're in our sixth year, taking place on November 16th at Real Park Events in South Bend, Indiana. It's a fantastic opportunity to connect, learn, and grow in your entrepreneurial journey, and we have a special treat for you today. During this series, we'll be interviewing some remarkable women who are planning to attend this year's summit, and others who have experienced the magic of previous years. Their stories and insights and experience will surely inspire you to sign up for the summit. So if you're a woman looking to ignite your entrepreneurial spirit or elevate your business game, this episode is for you. Now, let's dive into our interviews for today's phenomenal guest. We have 10 thought provoking questions to get your perspective on the Women Entrepreneur Summit. So let's get started. Today, we have our guest, Maria Fleming, owner of Senior Resource Network, located in South Bend, Indiana. Maria is a graduate of the C Tier Health Women's Initiative Women Entrepreneur Excellence Certification Program and has attended the summit and is now a featured speaker. Welcome, Maria.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much, Cindy. It is a great honor to come and talk about the summit and our personal relationship and growing in the industry.
I know it's amazing. You and I have known each other for a pretty long time, I think, for at least 6 years for sure. And I think you and I have known each other, been, peer relationships, friendly fellow entrepreneurs, like maybe 10 years. What do you think?
I would agree. I would agree because the first time that I met you was at the Century Center.
Oh, at the Women's Expo?
Yes.
Oh, wow. The Expo for Women. That's an amazing event that happens in March, too. So while we're here, why don't you share with us a little about yourself and your journey as an entrepreneur? So we like to talk about as I mentor people, um, to think about what your personal story is and then also what your business story is. So your personal story is why you decided to become an entrepreneur, and then your business story is why you do what you do. So could you share with us that?
Sure, sure. So the reason why I started my business was to help people. And my personal story is an experience that I had with my parents. My dad had just retired from Well McLean in Michigan City, and he held my mom's health coverage. And so he believed that because he's held that health insurance for 20, 30 years, that it would follow him.
Mhm.
And that's just not the case. So there was a huge disruption in health coverage for my mom, and she had a major surgery that resulted in a $15,000 bill
Oh, wow, it's a lot.
only because she thought that she had coverage at the time that they pre-qualified her and just checked to see that she had coverage, and she didn't. So
Wow.
she had Part A. She didn't have Part B. So Part A is hospitalization, and then Part B is your medical. So
Right.
so the hospital bill was covered through Part A, the procedure, but
Mhm.
they still had to pay the physician and some and the outpatient stuff. Anyway, after hours of being on the phone with Social Security, and it was very frustrating for them.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
they didn't understand why the things happened. Nobody explained these things. And so we were seeing that all across both South Bend and Mishawaka and LaPorte, that there was a great need to help seniors bridge that gap, to who to talk to, to to
Yeah.
be referred to a trusted local professional.
Absolutely. You know what? It's not just seniors. There's a lot of, 50-year-olds that are now taking care of their parents. And I've helped several people get onto the Medicare program and Medicaid. And quite honestly, it's very confusing. I mean,
Right.
I have a college education, a life of experience, and still have my faculties. And I find it to be like it's very hard. There's a lot that goes into it. The questions are very confusing. And if you have any questions, they tell you to go onto the websites, which are also
Right.
confusing. And it's very hard to know who to get help from. So I totally agree with you. It's a much needed service, very much. And also, I think I'm also a nurse as well as the founder of C Tier Health Women's Initiative. And I find that just the average person who's entering into the healthcare system needs an advocate. And I remember years ago, I was reading Time magazine, and it talked about how when you enter into a hospital system, you're really like entering to a foreign country. A foreign country, say for example, has its own language, and a hospital has its own medical jargon or language that we use. A foreign country, people have different jobs or work assignments than we have in the United States. And you know what? The hospital is the same too. There's different categories of people, and you don't know who they are. You can't identify them easily, and it's just very confusing. So they recommend in that Time magazine article that you make friends with someone who knows how that system works. So
Exactly.
when you go into it, then that person can help guide you. So that's amazing. Tell us more about what you're doing.
So Senior Resource Network has a network. We have a host of trusted local professionals. Our network consists of medical, legal, financial, home and auto, and personal. And each city has its own book of professionals. For instance, under the medical, legal, financial, home and auto, and personal, there are 108 subcategories under each header or each a profession.
I guess, yeah.
And so there are two professions in each category or
Mhm.
and or subcategory, and in each city. So for instance, we have a property and casualty insurance agent in Mishawaka. We have a life coach in Mishawaka. We have many trusted local professionals, and here's how we're reaching the seniors. The seniors call an 800 number,
Mhm.
and then we do an intake, and then we give them our recommendation, and we give them the list of people that we recommend. And not only do we just give them a list, we warm hand them over, introduce them to the individual that might be of great value to them. And then we also do a follow up just to make sure that their needs were taken care of and how we could help the seniors better. So
That sounds pretty exciting. I contacted you because I heard that when you're, what is it, when you're on Medicare and you're taking care of your parents. So a lot of people are taking care of their parents in their home or in their parents' home or their home. And I found out you could get paid for that. So,
right.
so I contacted you because someone had mentioned it to me that they needed some assistance. So since we're kind of talking about it, why don't you go ahead and talk about it a little bit?
Sure, sure. The government offers a stipend for individuals who are taking care of their loved ones in the home. So one of the stipulations is that they have to live in the home, or if they have a Medicare waiver. Now, the Medicare waiver will cover any of the expenses that the Medicare doesn't cover. And the
Mhm.
stipend situation, they will. Some of the at-home care caregivers organizations will give a stipend from, let's say, $45 to $65 a day.
That's a lot.
Um, and so that is tax free for them. And that gives
Wow.
them peace of mind knowing that they're being taken care of by a loved one. and knowing that the caregivers are able to still pay their bills while
Wow, that's
they're
exciting.
taking care of their elders, their loved ones.
Right,
Mm.
exactly. Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so let's go to question number 2. So, what's motivating you to attend the Women's Entrepreneur Summit this year, outside of the fact that you are a speaker? So, we'll cover that next too. So, tell us why you think the Women's Entrepreneur Summit's a good idea. You've been before, so you have an experience of it. So, would you like to share that with us?
Absolutely. My greatest takeaway from the past experience that I've had at the Women Entrepreneur Summit was being able to get what I pour in, what I've been poured into through your organization, and being able to reach back and help others, women entrepreneurs. And I get a lot of nuggets, things I didn't even think about, like, oh, that works. That's a thing. I didn't even know that you could do that. And just being able to mentor each other, because leaders that cannot follow they'll struggle leading. So you've
Yes.
got to be able to follow first before you can lead. And so I get a lot of, and in our journey through the certification program has been amazing. So I know that we're going to be talking about that. So I'll just kind of touch base on that for, so yeah, the just being able to be mentored and coached by other women and their experiences so that maybe I don't have to go through those pitfalls because they've experienced it and they shared that with me, really helps me overcome some challenges that I've had in my own personal life as well as my entrepreneurial journey. Mhm.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you know what? Being an entrepreneur is kind of a little bit lonely. It's like very isolating. And even these days, where most entrepreneurs are working from their home, you don't get the experience of like going into an office and meeting other people every day and hearing their stories and what's going on with them. And, sometimes it's good not to hear their stories, but you still get social, interaction. And like, since many entrepreneurs don't want to have people into their homes, they use like coffee shops or local restaurants or to meet up in, as well as Zoom calls. So I think going to a summit where you can actually meet people like face to face is really very powerful. I mean, the other working from home by yourself is nice, but I mean, it definitely has advantages, but it's really powerful when you meet actual people and you get the whole experience of that person, don't you think?
I think so. I think so. And it's about, for me, and I know I've heard other entrepreneurs and ladies and individuals say
Mhm.
it's about the relationship building.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's about
absolutely.
building that in your toolbox, just being able to put these little nuggets in there. And you may not use it right at that moment, but you'll be able to use it in the and those are one of the things that your certification had taught me is to my toolbox and put in all
Right.
these tools in there, and just building, and that relationship building is very important.
That is amazing. So tell us about your presentation. So let me just go over how you got selected because this is really very amazing. So for the Women's Entrepreneur Summit, um, we wanted this to be like a community event where women in our community put it together. We start meeting in August for community building, and every week we have what we call a community advisory board where we ask the women entrepreneurs and also women who want to hang out with entrepreneurs to meet with us. We offer meetups. So we do a networking meetup once a month. We do a workshop meetup, and then we do 2 advisory meetings. So we're very busy from October to November. Then from those get-togethers, we ask women entrepreneurs to come to the summit, and then we also ask them for their ideas and how to make it better. And then we also use those people to recruit speakers. So when we recruit speakers, we ask women in our community to apply to be a speaker. And the idea behind that is to be on brand, I guess you could say, is we feel that, or I feel that everyone is an expert, really. If you've been an entrepreneur 5 minutes longer than me, you know something I don't know, that makes you an expert to me. And so you don't have to like come from out of town. And I mean, when you think about it, if you go out of town, you're considered an expert. So being in town, you should be considered an expert too. And also it helps develop leadership in you. So what we do is we ask the women in our community to apply to be a speaker. Then we turn around and take those, we stop the applications at 20, and then we take those applications and turn them into voting forms. And then we ask the community to vote. So this year we asked over 1,200 people to vote for who they would like to see at the summit. And 75 people voted, which is really amazing. And we asked them to pick their top 8 favorites. And Maria, you and your topic got selected in the top 8. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what the title is and kind of what the talk's going to be about?
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And what an honor. And I remember I was at an event and you came around and you're like, check your email. Did you check your email?
I know.
and it was so funny to me because you're that type of coach that pushes me to a greater level. And I know that there's been incidents where you're like, do it. Am I your coach? Do it. And guess what? I did it.
That's right. And it worked.
And it
It
worked.
was your idea. You just need a little encouragement.
So yes, my talk is going to be about your one decision away from your breakthrough. And so that talk is going to be broken down into methods, mindset, and motivation. Being able to upgrade your mindset, upgrade your skill set, and what causes you to do what you do, your motivation, right? So being motivated, we're all motivated to either do something or not do something. Whether or not how we show up is how we are going to perform. And so those are in that topic, just being able to express the one thing that when you show up is your mindset, how you decide you are going to show up, not just for yourself, but for your team and for your community.
Mm-hmm.
will be a laser focus on the trajectory of how you are going to perform for your community. And for us, it's all about community. It's all about women entrepreneurs. It's all about seniors. It's all about upgrading. Upgrade yourself. If you want it, what got you there? And I think it was even you in a one-on-one coaching had said to me, what got you here will not get you here.
Yes.
Right? So taking all those skill sets and cultivating it to take it to the next level is going to get you what your idea of success may be for you. So, yep. So you're one decision away from your breakthrough.
Wow, that sounds really great. You know what? This came to mind for me. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I just would like to ask you about this. So when you say like show up, like you need to show up. So you know what? How I learned about that phrase was from Brene Brown. Brene Brown, who's a very famous professor, I think, out of Houston, Texas. She's an author, and she also has her own podcast. She's written several books. They're very good on leadership style, and she has a leadership course that I took. So one of the things that kind of confused me initially was about that showing up thing. So what does that mean exactly, to show up, to be present, like in that moment? Can you explain that?
Sure.
From your point of view, of course. But I think it's a lot of people don't know what that means. I didn't know what that meant initially.
So for me, showing up meant taking all of the negativity that we absorb, either in our self-talk or the chatter that is around us, and turning that into a positive a positive conversation within, and then
Mhm.
showing up by doing what you say you're going to do, um, and following the steps. And I don't have my book right in front of me, but in the course that you taught, um, showing up meant doing what you say you're going to do, writing it out,
Mhm.
having an agenda, and holding yourself accountable,
Mhm.
because no one is going to love your business more than you. That's
Absolutely.
your baby. Nobody's going to love that baby more than you love that baby. So showing up and doing the things that you say you're going to do, being accountable, being dependable. That's what that means for me, is to showing up, because so many people are depending on you,
Mhm.
um, to show up.
Right, exactly. That's amazing. That's a great explanation. I love that. It's a big help. Hey, thanks for that great mentoring. That was really good. You're a great student. I loved it. So, you know what? That is a really great way to explain it. I think a lot of people are confused by that statement. So, thanks so much for that. I think a lot of what goes on in the world is sort of that 80-20 rule. 20% of the people do 80% of the work. So, but sometimes, like the times now, were so confusing for everyone that it's easy to not do the work and let other people do the work for you, and that makes you less dependable. So I think that's really important. So back to the summit. So think about, for those, for you who have attended previous years, what was the most valuable lesson or moment you took away from summit? Like if one thing stood out to you, like what would it be?
And okay, so last year I had remembered, you had a demonstration, about the amount of the eating healthier and
Yes.
the sugar. Okay, so that stood out with me. So those of you that wasn't able to attend last year, there was a demonstration, and you had it was a 5 pound bag of sugar.
Mhm. Yeah, it was.
And so I remember you just taking scoops and scoops
Mhm.
equals this product or this juice or
Right.
this, and how much sugar that we take. And something that came to mind, and I ran across this months later, but then it gave me that aha moment. Why was it so important to eat healthier?
Mhm.
Because as an entrepreneur, we have to be more in shape. We have to
Let's do it.
be able to endure long, you know, brain scattering, earth shattering,
Mhm.
moments where you're like, oh my gosh. But if you're eating healthier, and from sea to your house, eating healthier, and taking your vitamins and exercising, and that was the one thing that stood out with me, is taking better care of yourself.
People really love that demonstration that we do. Yeah, it's to show people um, how much sugar we eat, and why that's important is because sugar is very inflammatory in your system. And we know from research that all sickness is related to inflammation. So the more unhealthy choices you make, the more sugar loaded choices you make, the more unhealthy your body is. And the thing is, when you're like just starting out as an entrepreneur, or actually like at any stage of your business, honestly, if you don't have your health, you really don't have much of a business, because
Right.
you end up not only spending your time away from yourself, but also from your employees. But so it's not just your time, there's no one overseeing the work. Productivity goes way down for your entire business. And also all your money goes to doctor bills. So it's not just, your time and production, but it's also your bottom line suffers from it too. So we always include in the summit some health portion. So this year, the health portion is going to be on mental health. So to help you understand mental health and good nutrition. So that's very important. If you're mentally unhealthy as well. So if you
Right.
have a body that's unhealthy and you're feeling sickly, or if you're mentally unhealthy, it's hard to stay on task.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a great portion this time, alongside the business strategies and marketing and motivation and inspiration that we get from our 20 speakers. So let's see, I have my list right here. Um, oh, how has the Women Entrepreneur Summit influenced your personal development? Like, you need to grow as a person. So one of the things we always talk about is, if, like you said, for your business to grow, you need to grow. So, and how would you say that the summit helps with your personal development as well as your business development?
I would say that on my business development and personal is um, watching presenters present. Everyone
Hmm.
has their
Mhm.
own style and their own, you know, swag. But being able to, just kind of, and then making it your own, because not everybody's going to do, nobody can be, um, nobody knows you better than yourself.
Exactly.
So no one can replicate yourself. They can mimic, but they will never be a complete replica of
Mhm.
you. But if you were able, personally, if you were able to just kind of take what you need and leave the rest, and then build on that particular skill. So personally, and the camaraderie and the relationship building, I'm going to keep coming back to that because, and just one thing I would like to share: you never know how you may impact a fellow
Oh,
entrepreneur.
absolutely.
Um, because I've heard and I've said this to other entrepreneurs: a kind word or a kind sentence or a kind phrase goes a long way, because you just don't know what people are going through behind. So
Wow.
if, you might be at the summit and you're smiling, but at home you've got A, B, C, D, E things going
Wow.
on, that you're just not able to focus and be 100% present there, because that's life. That is
Exactly.
absolutely life. And if they were telling you that there wasn't anything, then okay, well, then
Okay.
it is what it is. But for the majority of us, we
Exactly.
have a ton of things going on behind the scenes, and just that relationship building and being kind to one another.
That's really true. I 100% agree with you. You just never know. And sometimes someone says something to you doesn't mean anything, but then another person says it to you at a different time in your life and has a lot of meaning. So I think that's really important. So what advice would you offer to women who are thinking about attending the summit for the first time?
Absolutely. Get your pen and paper. Get your pen and paper and write that stuff down, because it may not, like you said, it may not mean anything to you right at the moment. But I know from personal experience, I will go back and read some of my notes and go, "Oh, that's what that meant," or, "Oh, that's how I
Mhm.
can implement that," and implementation. So you can learn, 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 but if you have data analysis, if you have analysis paralysis and you're not implementing those things, then you need to reach back, and just kind of get into a quiet place and then go, okay, what's working, and
Uh-huh.
build on the things that are working, and don't focus too much on the things that are not working.
Absolutely. I love that. So we're like on question 10 now. So in one word, how would you describe the women entrepreneur experience and why? So in one word, how would you describe it? Hmm.
Hmm. And one word:
In one word, and why would you choose that word?
motivation.
That's a good word. I should make note of that. Okay. And why would you use that as your
Because that
descriptive?
determines that one decision away from your breakthrough.
Oh, great segue back onto your presentation. Good job. So, to facilitate connections with the women in our community, share with us how the best way to reach you after this podcast is over.
So, Senior Resource Network has multiple ways that you can find us. We are listed in the Better Business Bureau. We are accredited business. We are also on social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, also Snapchat, and we have a website, www.seniorresourcenetwork.org. Also, you can reach us at our 877-324-8490 hotline when you need a trusted local professional.
Oh, slip that right in. That's really good for you. Okay, so is there anything else you'd like to add that we didn't cover or
Now, I
before?
just wanted to say thank you again for the opportunity to share my story, to be able to be on this wonderful platform. I don't know if people know this, and I don't. Through the mentoring program, and also that you had won. Can I share that from the McCluskey?
Yeah,
The
sure. I wasn't.
Absolutely, because I was blown away, and that was the reason why I had decided to compete this year was because of you, was because of standing in that booth and being present when you won, when you were awarded funds from Better World Books.
Yes.
And it was actually an amazing experience from all of these entrepreneurs around the world, and being able to, and I remember going from booth to booth and hearing all these entrepreneurs pitch their story, and being able to stand behind at your booth for a short period of time. And because I was a certificate holder of your class, I was able to share my story and why it was so important that this movement continues forward. Mhm.
Oh, thank you. That's so unexpected. I appreciate that. So let's catch everybody up then. So every year, Notre Dame University Idea Center has a competition called the McCluskey New Venture Competition, which starts in, I believe, in September each year and then ends in April. And it's a pitch deck competition. And basically, what you do is you apply to participate with a new venture. So we created a new venture called Bridging the Gap for Women LevelUP Entrepreneur Residency Program, which we're going to be presenting at the Women's Entrepreneur Summit. So everyone who's there is going to get to hear the exact same pitch that gave us awarded us a semifinalist position in that competition, and also the greatest social impact by Better World Books. So if you want to know what those competitions look like, you should come to the summit because you can see it there.
Absolutely.
And it was really exciting. And one of the outcomes so far of winning that award is I published a book and it's going to be launched at the summit. So let me just continue on with this presentation here and then talk a little more, and then I'll wrap up with the book. So in
Perfect.
case, just in case. Okay. So I'm sure you're as excited as I am about hearing these amazing women who either signed up for this year's summit or have been a part of an inspiring legacy. Their stories are proof that the event can be a pivotal moment in your entrepreneur journey. So take their advice to heart. Don't miss out on the incredible opportunity. Join us on November 16th, that's a Thursday, at Real Park Events, which is a woman owned, in South Bend for the Women Entrepreneur Summit Roundtables for Success. Your journey towards empowerment, growth, and success begins there. So to get your ticket, because we still have tickets, you can go to the website. So the website is www.women's, like more than one, women's entrepreneur summit.org, or you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. If you just type in Women's Entrepreneur Summit South Bend, you'll be able to find it easily. Besides the 19 guest speakers, connecting you to community leaders, motivating and inspiring women entrepreneurs, we're going to learn about hyperscaling your business, mentoring, and valuable business resources and confidence building. Plus, you get 4 bonus gifts. So one is this one.
Yay!
Yay! Which is we're launching at the summit which is She Means Business, and Breaking Through and Scaling Up. So if you want to look at the website for this, you can find it under breakingthroughandscalingup.com. How about that?
Nice.
Um, plus, there are four other, but let's think about this. So, who is this book for? It's for women who are starting up a new business and wondering what's on the road ahead and how to prepare. So, this is a great book for you if you're new. She Means Business is also great for the experienced women entrepreneur who is stuck, are looking to be seen as an authority in your field. So once again, the website is breakingthrough scalingup.com. And I want to thank you for tuning in to this empowering podcast episode. And we look forward to seeing you at our next podcast or at the summit. Yay!
Yay. Thank you so much,
Thank
Cindy. I
you
appreciate
so
you.
much.